This is Fieldsports Channel News. Chris Packham really doesn't like UK bank Barkley's. The BBC TV presenter made his feelings known at a recent animal rights demo, while Justice's Hen Harrier Day, now widened out to include Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion, saw Wild Justice founders take to the stage to make their usual call for an end to grouse shooting. Plus, they gave space to the Protect the Wild group, which is launching what it calls a TripAdvisor for antis, an online list of UK businesses that they believe support hunting and shooting. The most outrageous statement of the day came from Packham, who called out customers of Barkley's.
But if anyone here is banking with Barkley's, then I suggest you stick your head in a bucket of fuel and set fire to it. Because you're burning our planet down, and it's time to put this stuff behind us.
You can watch our full film about the day by following the link below. An interview with Charlie at the Carter Jonas Game Fair Theatre has led to column inches and TV debates. Ed Swales of Hunting Kind obtained legal opinion, which says that people who hunt could have protected characteristics under the 2010 Equality Act, and they must establish cases of discrimination against them. He launched his findings at the Carter Jonas Game Fair Theatre. Thanks to the publicity, the UK's media has enthusiastically taken up the idea of protecting people who hunt or shoot in the same way that the law protects Roma or LGBTQ communities. New Westminster government, new policies, and it started to sink in what that will mean for the countryside at this year's Game Fair. DEFRA Minister Daniel Zeichner did his best to allay fears that the government would make laws against shooting. Speaking to Charlie, he indicated that he planned to call on the shooting community for help with deer control and not go down the Scottish route of using taxpayers' money to pay contractors. Unfortunately, the DEFRA press officer has asked us not to use the video of the minister or his own words. So, they are voiced by an actor.
Me. Ready when you are, darling. I'm particularly struck, I have to say, by the need for a proper deer management strategy in this country, because some of the visits I did during the general election campaign, the amount of damage that's being done is very striking. And I think there's this slight sense that if you keep planting more trees, it'll be fine. But if you're just planting trees that are eaten by the deer, I'm not sure you are making much progress.
That was the minister in the style of Sir John Gielgud. As for Labour's commitment to ban trail hunting, the minister had this to offer in the manner of one of our greatest thespians.
Oh, what now? Oh, very well. The manifesto is there, and that's the manifesto the party was elected on. So clearly that is what will happen at some point. But there are a number of ways in which these things can happen. And it's sensible to have a proper discussion so that those who are making the law understand the consequences, and we look at all the things we can do to mitigate those things. Now, I feel I'm much better informed about some of these issues, having gone to see people, having listened to people who know about things, and what I can't guarantee is that I will persuade all of my colleagues. What I can guarantee you is that I will take away what I have learned and actually say to people, look, maybe a bit more complicated than we thought, in which case, let's have a look and see how we can do this in a sensible way. Because conservation and protecting our environment, that's what people here want to do.
If you want to hear what Daniel actually sounds like, he is a regular on the Fieldsports Channel podcast. Until recently, he was a DEFRA minister. Now, Conservative DEFRA shadow, Steve Barkley, is asking Daniel Zeichner to get off the fence. Barkley, whom Zeichner replaced after the 2024 election, believes Labour is taking too long to announce its plans relating to the countryside. He's also concerned that Zeichner has told observers that even as a minister, he can't do much to stop the parliamentary party bringing in legislation which is anti-hunting and shooting. Steve Barkley is played by himself in this clip, which was recorded while talking to Charlie at the Game Fair.
But that just doesn't wash, does it? You can't wait 14 years to be a minister and then say, it's my party, but it's nothing to do with me. And so that's where we've got to see beneath the generic headlines. I think there's so many areas of uncertainty, and I do think it's reasonable after 14 years of time to prepare, now that they're in government, They didn't do that in the area you'd expect them to, the manifesto. They didn't do it in the next area you'd expect them to, the King's Speech, which sets out the government's priorities. And I think, businesses need to be able to make decisions. People need to be able to plan for their future. And I think it's important, therefore, to be able to say to the dairy farmer, if you're going to end badger culling, on what date? If you're going to change land use, in what way? If you're going to change inheritance tax, are you going to tell us when and in what way? What are the thresholds that apply?
You can see Steve Barkley's interview in full in this week's podcast by clicking on the link below. New Zealand's hunters have embarked on their annual goat cull as part of a nationwide competition. Goats like these are officially designated as a nuisance species all over the islands and cause millions of dollars worth of damage. The New Zealand government has endorsed the event, which has prize categories including Got Your Goat and Great Goat Roundup. The New Zealand Deer Stalkers Association run the competition, which also gives prizes to Best Junior. Last year's event saw 10,134 goats shot. The competition runs from August to November, and thanks to Nigel Gavin for the story. Britain's shooting success at the 2024 Olympic Games came at a cost of over £3 million per medal. Nathan Hales' gold and the silver won by Amber Rutter in Paris gave Team GB their best return in shooting sports since the Sydney Games in 2000. The team are part funded by UK Athletics and the National Lottery, which supported 6 athletes and coaching staff representing the UK to the tune of £6.2 million. It shows shooting's recovery from their disastrous return in the Beijing Games in 2008, when its £1.5 million budget was cut, leaving the sport in crisis before the London Games. Peter Wilson's 2012 gold medal for double trap is widely thought to have saved the sport from further cuts. British shooting is now hoping for more support to grow the sport before the next Games in Los Angeles. Heavily funded events such as sailing and boxing could face funding cuts after their medal struggles in France. Salmon anglers fishing some of Scotland's most famous rivers have been told by government they'll no longer be able to take fish home for the table. The new rules will be imposed next year and will affect 117 of Scotland's finest salmon rivers, which draw anglers from all over the world. The ruling's been introduced to address a population crisis, which saw just 34,477 fish caught in 2023. In 2010, there were over 110,000. Factors including barriers to fish migration, climate change, pollution and disease caused by fish farming practices are blamed for the demise of the fish. The fish are now regarded as endangered. Safe catch and release is already practiced on a voluntary basis on many Scottish rivers. One of the worst firearms licensing backlogs in the UK has been cleared. BASC worked alongside police in Cumbria to clear almost 1,800 applicants for firearms certificates. BASC's head of firearms, Martin Parker, worked with senior officers in the region to reduce waiting times. Cumbria police say non-complex applications should now be processed in around 17 weeks. And finally, fishermen in Cyprus are being offered extra support to help cull a population of poisonous invaders. For the past 10 years, a venomous species of pufferfish called the silver-cheeked toadfish has been caught in massive numbers in the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Experts believe they've managed to find their way into Europe via the Suez Canal. Fish are highly poisonous and also carry a savage bite. Now the Cypriot government have increased payments to encourage fishermen to target and remove the puffers, which are known as rabbitfish. Those caught are destroyed at a biosecure facility. They're highly prized in Asian cuisine, but can only be prepared by expert chefs who know how to remove potentially deadly toxins from their internal organs. Thanks to Matt Budd for the video clips and expert advice on preparation. But I reckon this is probably one to avoid with the mushy peas and curry sauce on a Friday night. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.